One of my professors used to say that the best moment in life is when somebody opens a book and they're transported into another world. And the next best feeling is you're there watching it with them and joining that world also because you're reading your own book. And there's nothing like it talaga that when a child sees that he or she can be better than where they are today, and all because of an idea or a story that they like or an artwork they like in the book, they're changed for life. There's no turning back. My name is Quintin Pastrana. I am the founder and chairman of the Library Renewal Partnership. The Library Renewal Partnership, or LRP, is a coalition and an ecosystem of literacy champions and champions for education, from publishers, leading local and international publishers, to librarians, to students, to volunteers, to even companies and logistics providers who come together to really build what we call third spaces or community education centers around the country and now in Asia. It's important in society to have what we call a third space. Personally, for us kasi, for our first space is typically the home. The second space is either school, or if we're graduated already, work. The third space is either the place where we build a community or we engage with the community. So it could be a church, it could be a concert hall or a park or a gym. And definitely we think that a third space that focuses on education and social engagement is, I think, one of the best investments a government and a community can make. Because there you're growing with the community, you share their hopes and dreams, and you're building really a sense of grassroots development, sustainable development through something like a library. Third spaces are important also because regardless of gender, background, socioeconomic class, ethnicity, it doesn't matter, you're all welcome, and a library fits right in there. It started as a paper actually. In around 2008, I was an exchange student in the UK. I was doing a graduate paper on public-private partnerships and strategic alliances. When I was an exchange program student in Oxford, I saw all the libraries there, and I realized, wow, nakakaingit talaga to. Why are we not producing more of that? So from 2008 until even in 2012, when I went there as a full-time student, I was always studying what will it take to have the same atmosphere of learning, inquiry, and excellence and contribution to society in a university like Oxford or Cambridge, for example, where there is around 50 libraries for every square mile. How does that happen in the Philippines? And I realized it can be done. The Philippines has one of the best laws, actually, when it comes to libraries. There is a Library Development Act, Republic Act 7743, since 1994. But like many laws, they're unfunded. So we thought maybe that's a good reason to come in and maybe help in terms of a public-private partnership. So that started in 2008. It was a paper that we ended up applying individually, did an experiment in my hometown in Calibo, Aklan. That was library number 1. It's still there today, even growing beyond our original. And since then, we've built over 800 libraries. In the beginning, I think the LGU was a little skeptical because they were always thinking, as many people ask, why do we still need libraries? Ba't kailangan pa natin yan, di ba? I'd rather build a basketball court. I want to build a social hall for the ati-atihan. And we were saying that, you know, you really need this kasi this will be very helpful as a future investment. And yung maganda kasi sa library, it's not just a place to read. You can use that public space later on for, you know, mga out-of-school alternative learning systems classes. You can use it for the local Kiwanis or Rotary or Knights of Columbus. It can be a place that can generate an income. So yun yung napatunayan ko sa paper ko na it can be a very economically viable. Kahit na may kahinaan or limitations yung funding ng local government, the private sector can come in and make it a vibrant community space. The local government gave us a chance, and to this day, they're very happy with it. People think it's a safe space. It helps reduce the crime rate because you have kids coming in there waiting for their parents to come out of work, finishing their homework. And I think the community becomes stronger, and that's already been there for 10 years, and we're happy to note that the library has grown and the patronage of that library has grown a lot also. And that's the same story we have in all our libraries. our mantra in 2010 when we officially started the Library Renewal Partnership after the success of Kalibo. We thought 200 libraries by 2020. We thought that was very ambitious already. But so far, we've exceeded our libraries fourfold. We're close to 850 now, and that's because of really of the coalition that we've built. Everybody has a role to play. It's the Bayanihan spirit, as we like to say, resurrected for the 21st century. So yun yung layunin namin talaga, to go beyond that since we've already succeeded, but to not stop there. Yung bago naming layunin is isang dibong library or sinitaklatan by 2020. So a partnership will have to work with the local government because they are mandated by law to build libraries from the provincial or the congressional level down to the barangay level. So yung ginagawa po namin is we engage the local government. And thankfully, because we have proof of concept now, we have 800 libraries for them to choose from in terms of saying, gumagana ba to? This really helps. They can study their neighboring municipalities or barangays or other areas and see, oh, this is actually going to be helpful for the town. When we determine their commitment, we ask them to get an authorization to implement the law. And that's when we say, okay, pwede na, may commitment na siya. So we design an MOA with them. We have a standard template. You can download it from the internet and we will build the commitment from there. Yung pinaka-importante dyan, everybody has a share. So kami, may commitment kami, we'll give you the books or the computers. That's usually the case. Yung local government will build the infrastructure, basically, kasi the best part of the local government is the fact that it's centrally located sa bayan mismo, sa plaza usually, sa munisipyo, sa barangay. It even has a better location than the malls. So we just want them to repurpose the space and allocate a budget that was mandated by law so that they can sponsor the salaries of the librarians kasi nasa batas naman yan. And then we put it all together in a commitment. So everybody builds that library together. And then the civic groups come in, the Rotaries, the Kiwaneses, the communities come in, and then that's what happens na it's magic. There's no turning back. It becomes a virtuous circle. And most of our libraries, actually all of our libraries have not closed down. They've just been growing over time on their own. People still have the notion that, you know, yung mga libraries na to, parang outdated na yan, di ba? Panahon pa ng lolo ko yun, or something like that. It used to be the first library took 2 years to build because we had so much resistance, may customs issues, may logistical partners, nawawala kami ng pondo because we had to pay for so much to bring books in. Now that we have local suppliers and international suppliers, and they're all coming in for free, our goal now is to make it more sustainable. So the difficulty for us right now is to be able to manage yung tinatawag nating supply chain so that anytime that someone wants a library in the community, we can easily get them the library. Kasi nanghihinayan kami na kulang yung mga resources namin, although right now medyo okay pa naman siya. But we are seeing a growth in demand. So our next step will be to put up a crowdfunding site in our website so that anybody, if you're an OFW or a teacher or a generous donor who wants to give resources, you can buy the book directly from our site. It connects to places like Adarna House, which they get on a discount. And then our logistics partner, like LBC is our logistics partner, will ship it. So that way, it's automated now. We can use technology. So from a problem where we were worried about supply and reaching the customers, now we have an opportunity to change that because technology allows us now to do it. Now, I'm not even involved. If you go to the website, for example, in a few more months, you're going to see it. If you go to the website, you can click and say, your 100 pesos can buy you 3 books here, can buy you 1 ebook with 2,000 books, or can pay for the transport of this book. So we want to make it very donor-friendly so that problem right now wherein we're worried about the supply goes away. I think you will not find the community that doesn't want a library. Kasi for them, the concept of, you know, medyo malit yung tahanan namin, our kids have a hard time finding a place where they have a quiet time to study, especially in the urban poor communities, in the marginalized informal settler communities. You don't have a public space. So yung library na yun, it becomes an oasis for them. It's a safe space, a place where they can do homework, study, you know, even strategize their new business. So there's a wide demand to have a space like that. The long-term effect is you have an educated citizenry. An educated citizenry will be able to think critically, and that means a lot in terms of What kind of jobs do I get to? What courses will I take? How can I take care of my family? How can I elect better leaders, which is something we keep talking about nowadays. So I think an educated citizenry will rely less on their governments, be more responsible, be more entrepreneurial. And that starts with literacy. Literacy is the foundation, even for being good at math. It's the foundation for numeracy. It's the foundation for thinking for yourself. And then eventually that will go into the school system. So you create an educated citizenry and a workforce that wants to provide for itself rather than rely on the government or rely on politicians for easy answers, which usually isn't the case. So I think in civilized societies where, in advanced economies, you have libraries there that really are changing the way people think. You have a lot of leaders who say that because of their libraries or because of the education system, they were able to become who they are. And that's from entrepreneurs, bank presidents, conglomerates, or head teachers. They all say the same thing. So I think you're going to see a very good multiplier effect from an educated citizenry that is not just going to be in there for the medium term, but the long term. So it's an investment for the future. We have international books. We have local books, Anvil, National Bookstore, Adarna. Many others have given us books. And then, of course, we have a lot of citizens, contacts and communities who have books that they want to give away. Some of them are cleaning house, and these are well pre-loved books that they can let go of, and we give them as well. So there's a lot of variety in terms of the books. And what we specify po sa may mga librarians natin or yung mga LGU is ano po yung kailangan ninyo. So we will customize the offerings based on what they need. Kung mas marami yung e-books na gusto nila, we'll help them. Kung may computer, magbibigay kami. So it's a nice partnership where it's customized and it's it really fits what they need. There's no one size fits all. None of our libraries look the same. So we have libraries in hospitals. There's a children's library in one of the wards, or we have a small shelf in, for example, the PGH, which is very crowded, but there are small kiosks there in the children's medical ward. We have a converted conference room in the Philippine Heart Center that's now a children's library while they're waiting for their parents who are recovering from a procedure. What's beautiful is the community ends up deciding what kind of library it will be. And that's why naging sustainable siya dahil sila mismo yung nagde-decide, sila yung pumipili kung ano yung mga libro, anong anyo ng library ng gagawin nila. So, we've seen so many kinds of libraries. In fact, the latest library we're doing is with the AFP V. Luna Medical Center, the Health Service Command, which is near here. Basically, the casualties of the Battle of Marawi, from the SAF 44 incident to all these soldiers who are being cared for, they and their dependents are actually in the hospital. There's no TV, and they take a long time because the government service is to make sure they're fully rehabilitated and recovered before they're either going back to service or discharged. So that's a long time, and we think that's good time to use for reading, especially if their kids and their wives are there or they themselves want to read. So our next project is to have libraries in each of those wards in the AFP Medical Center for the soldiers and their dependents. And what Richie Capulan, Colonel Richie Capulan, who's the head of the library there, is saying is that he probably wants, if it succeeds, we're going to do more libraries in the military hospitals in Zamboanga, in Tawi-Tawi, in Sulu, where that's the front line of the war and the violence. So that's an exciting library for us. We have libraries in prisons like in Bilibid. As many people know, dun sa Bilibid talaga may mga gang, 'di ba? May mga drug syndicates. And a lot of the inmates there have already basically nagbagong buhay na sila. That's why there are a lot of churches also there. So a lot of them are there for life. There's no more death penalty. They're there for life. And at the same time, they feel that where do they go? It's such a cramped space. So that library is maliwalas, it's white, it has, it's very ventilated, malakas yung electric fan dun, and that's where they have a fellowship. So that library, the warden and the guards have been saying it's actually helped improve behavior also. We think even in a place like that, all the more people change and their imagination goes well because that's physical limitation. They cannot leave that place forever. So that place has actually helped them heal at the same time and reform their lives, no matter what transgressions they've done before. One of our stories is that there was a 24-year-old out-of-school youth. Yung kinakwento niya sa amin is he had a hard time going into public spaces. Minsan tinatadyakan siya ng mga guard dun dahil yung pinapasukan niya pala exit. He couldn't read the sign. So how would he know, hindi ba? So yung number one story niya sa amin is because he learned to read. Not only is he doing better in school, he's back in school. Pero even the simple thing is na hindi na ako sinasaktan dahil tama yung pinapasukan kong exit sa building. I mean, that there's a transformation that happens even from the beginning when you start reading. Or sabihin natin sa UP Maguindanao, as you know, that's a very, very hazardous place. There's a lot of history and violence in that area. The literacy rate there in one village there, in an upland village, was around 10% lang. And then it went up to 53% in a year and a half thanks to the efforts of a mobile library done by Synergia. So you're seeing lives transformed in a place na iisa lang yung pamilya nakikinabang dun sa kayamanan, di ba? And now you're having more people coming in. The future may not be the same anymore. You will have more empowered citizens and brethren from the Bangsamoro will take their lead, avoid the mistakes their predecessors did. Our hope is because they read, they were empowered, and they realized, I can do better than this. Super pusang mamon ako whenever I hear these stories. But the nice thing about it kasi is, which LRPs, we're always in the background. The LGU, yung LGU nagiging bida dun kasi it's really their mandate. We just help catalyze it. What I really feel good, I sleep well at night, but more importantly, it's the idea that, you just feel that the experience that you had, however unique to you, na nasa library ako sa isang bansa na kung saan pang lumawak yung imahinasyon ko, those things, if you know that and you see that in a person, your day is made. It all starts from a personal reason. And for me, it was important for me because I had a learning disability that I found out later on that I had. It was attention deficit disorder. And that, I think that my experience in a home library that my grandfather and grandmother made for me, I wasn't allowed to watch TV. I was able to focus on reading. That really saved my life. And so I thought, if I can have that experience, why can't other people have that? So that's my motivation. That I think if I, with a learning disability, can succeed as far as I can, I feel that people can do even better with that chance. And that happens to be with having an enabling, empowering space. Michael Ondate, another poet and another poet who became a novelist, he talks about reading a novel is like walking down the road with a mirror in your hand. You're growing while you're reading. You're actually getting to know yourself better while you're seeing another person's life. You're able to empathize more. I think studies in deep reading show that those people who read are comfortable with problems because they can help work with uncertainty. So you can actually see that literature makes you a more mature human being because you're able to understand the other. You don't think of yourself as just one point of view. Marami talagang mga mungkahi dun, marami talagang opinion dyan. And there are other sides to a story. And literature teaches you to go beyond yourself and to learn from the other person, even if it's fiction. So with that working of the imagination and yung creativity mo, and yung mga pananaw na nakikita mo from other cultures, there's nothing like reading because it opens your whole world and it makes you a better human being as you grow. I've been lucky. I guess so. I've been blessed. I had all the opportunities to succeed in life. I had good mentors who loved reading. Like one of them was Senator Raul Roco, who is a great writer, education secretary, hero. I think he showed himself because he also rose from relative poverty into one of the best statesmen we've had. And so I think that example makes me feel that I've been given a lot of learning and opportunity and the success I have right now at work and even this enterprise, parang you have to pass it on rin naman, diba? So I feel na to pay it forward is the easiest thing to do, because if you feel that benefit can go to other people, and as a businessman, I can just replicate that by having a tinatawag na turnkey. Now you can download our entire system on the internet and you can set up a library by yourself. That makes me feel good, because now it's not about me. It's now about a system that's in place, and just to keep it going makes me happy, because I know it's going to go beyond the original founders of the LRP. We have a team of volunteers and managers who came to us via social media. Now they're one of our best friends. So we have a volunteer team, and our partners do a lot of the work. And now we're sharing the responsibility. So all I'm doing is just making sure that there's quality assurance na if we promise we are going to deliver something, we'll deliver talaga. So I actually don't have as much work to do anymore, kasi now automate na yung system, which is I think the next step for me, to make sure that beyond me, it will run on its own. And I think for every social enterprise or NGO or movement, you really want to make sure that it goes beyond the founder. So I think we're getting there. Ultimately, I think it's, everything is personal talaga. I mean, I feel that I was changed because of books and reading. So I feel na, I'm sure other people are too. And I've seen it all the time na no matter how hopeless it seems for a person, if they have a chance to go out themselves and into another world through a book, they will learn something and they will take it with them and they will try to be better. That's my experience universally talaga. Sa lahat ng mga nakikita ko, kaya sa magazine siya, kaya sa romance novel siya, or kaya sa textbook siya, that act of reading is an empowering thing. So, and we don't change things overnight, but that thing will stick with you. And the good news is it's happening as we speak. The readership of the Philippines is still a lot. It's still, I think the last thing we have around over 50 million adult readers who like reading. So if the demand is there, we'll supply, the content. So in fact, I think there's a world cultural study that shows that the Filipinos are, I think, the top 4 in the terms of readership. That's great news. So now the question is, how do we satisfy that demand? Which is why we're here and working with our partners who deserve all the credit. It affirms to me that education is the great equalizer. That's the most important thing. It's not a cliche, it's true. My life, Senator Rocco's life, other people who are succeeding, Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg, all these guys, they're all focusing on education because they had that same experience. So feeling ko is that it's taught me to value an education more and to make sure that other people, if they can get it, if an out-of-school youth member is able to go to a library because he's accepted there and can go back into school via an ALS program, that makes me really, really happy, and that's why we do it. I remind myself, this is again because of the reading, Aristotle, the philosopher, the Greek philosopher, that said, true happiness is the full use of your powers along the lines of excellence in the life affording them scope. So simply said, sa madaling salita, if you want to have a fulfilling life talaga, for as long as you're helping yourself, your loved ones, and hopefully that circle expands to other people while you're still alive, and you'll have a very good life. And by that definition, masaya talaga ako. Dr. Rizal wanted an educated citizenry, so during his time it was probably even worse, right? And I think Dr. Rizal wanted something where each Filipino had a right to self-determination. That's my goal. At the end of the day, a fully empowered, critically thinking, independent citizenry. And I think we'll get there slowly but surely, maybe beyond my time, but the idea there is at least we planted the seeds already. And those seeds are now elsewhere. We have libraries in India, in Bhutan, for example. We were able to help plant a seed there, and now there are around close to 100 libraries in Bhutan. And we realize that education and literacy has no nationality, diba? And at the end of the day, if you want to build a more peaceful region in the world, let's spread this model because it seems to be working here. The Bayanihan spirit can be exported naman, and I'm sure they have a counterpart there. And now we're connecting with other people, so we're very happy that it doesn't have to be just a Filipino dream, but it can be, a regional and universal human dream also.